In this video, we're going to go over how to use the spreadsheet that we've developed to automate the monthly progress reporting submission for bridge inspection. And we'll start by opening up the file. And when we do, you're going to see up in the top left corner here, depending on your security settings, you may have to enable macros. You do have to enable them for this spreadsheet to work. The first tab is the instructions tab, and this video is basically going to go over everything that's in this tab, the whole walkthrough. And the first thing we're going to cover here is exporting the data out of Vitas, how to get the correct report that we're going to use to import into the spreadsheet. Okay, so now we're going to jump into Vitas. And when you launch Vitas, you want to make sure you're in your firm profile and not one of the region profiles. The reason for that is we want to make sure that only the bridges assigned to your particular firm show up, and not all the ones that are scheduled within the region for this season. And the very next thing we're going to have to do once this loads up is apply a filter to make sure that any of the bridges with a removed status do not show up. And you can put your filter in there. And then over here we want to go to inspection status. You want to make sure that's checked. The filter type should be set to not in list. And then status down here you want to have removed. If you apply that filter, that'll remove any bridges that have been removed so they don't show up. If you check the number of rows down here in the bottom, if that matches the number of bridges you have currently assigned to you, then your filters are all set. You should be good to go. We're actually going to right click and we're going to click on export data. And that'll pull up this window. And you can click OK. I usually set it to the XLSX file just to match the current version of Word, or Excel rather, but the original one can work. And then sometimes this works and sometimes it takes a few extra clicks, but we'll get it here eventually. You'll know when you got it. You'll see it, the program download launch in the lower left portion of your screen. A couple more clicks, okay, and there it goes. All right, so now we have the file and we can close out of Vitas, and we're going to jump back into our progress reporting spreadsheet. So here we are in the instructions tab. So the next thing we're going to cover is the initial download and the initial setup of the progress spreadsheet. And to do that, we have to go to the area where we've downloaded our information out of Vitas. In this case, I've got 3 days worth of data. We're going to start with the oldest one. That's what I want to use for the setup. You can ignore if you get protected view, because all we're going to do is we're going to select the entire spreadsheet and we're going to copy it. Then we're going to come back into the update tab here of our spreadsheet and we're going to paste what we just copied out of there. Now next we need to go back to the spreadsheet that had our download data and close that. We found that you can get some errors if you don't have that closed. And we want to select all the bid numbers. In this case, mine are in column A. Depending on how your data is in Vitas, it could be in a different column. That's fine. You just want to copy the bid numbers. And of importance, make sure you don't select the header column or header row. You just want the bid numbers only. You want to take those bid numbers and you're going to paste them in the column A of the summary tab. And so while that's still highlighted, don't click anywhere else. You're going to want to go up here and click on the Data tab in Excel. And then you're going to want to click the Remove Duplicates button. You want to make sure we're only use our current selection. We're going to remove duplicates and hit OK. In this case, we didn't get any duplicates found. Chances are you'll get the same thing. It's just a procedure we run just to make sure we don't have an error. So this actually takes care of the initial setup. Just make sure you click off that selected row. And we should be good to go now to go back to our Home tab and then go over to the Import the Daily Updates. So in this case, like I said, I've downloaded data on 3 different days. And we want to select the same one that we've used to set up our spreadsheet. And then hit Open. Now, this takes a bit to get going. You may even see that you get a little message that may even say Excel is not responding. You can ignore that. And you can see now it started to import the data. So I'm going to let this skip ahead a little bit. And I'll fast forward so you'll have to sit through the whole process. Okay, the import of the daily update is complete. So at this point, all you got to do is click on the OK button here, and you can see now our summary page has been populated with some data. The next step is to click the Import Daily Update tab again and bring in our second day's worth of data. So we select that, we hit Open, and the process is identical. Now you're probably wondering why we're capturing data on a daily basis out of Vitas and imported into the spreadsheet. And that really has to do with the way Vitas handles some dates of submissions. As you go through the process, sometimes the dates are overwritten or dates get blanked out. And so we want to be able to capture those initial dates of submission to QC, QA, inventory submission dates, and etc. And so that's the reason for the daily updates and the daily downloads. So actually here we just finished the second one, and we're going to kick off the third one. And so if you miss a day or two, it's not critical. The spreadsheet will still run. It's just, I suggest trying to capture data as much as you can. So I'm going to speed things up now, and we'll catch back up in a second. All right, so we've completed our third day of updates, and I just want to show you what happens if you try to import the same data twice. So we'll pick the third one again, and you can see you get this error message. So you can either abort the process, you can retry, which means pick a different file name, or you can ignore it and re-import the same data again. In this case, I'm just going to click the abort. If you go to the update log here, this keeps a running list of which files you've imported. So if you come back in a week and you got a week's worth of data, you got to import, want to know where you left off, this is a handy place to look. So next we're going to go into the monthly progress report tab here. And then what we're going to do is go up and click File, go all the way down to the left and click on Options, and then go over here and click on Folders. We want to make sure our workbook is set to automatic. Occasionally they can get changed to manual, and if you find that this progress report page isn't updating, that's likely the problem. And so some of this data has to be put in. Most of it's input automatically, but this column we have to populate with our planned inspections by month. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in some arbitrary data here to fill it out. And if you look, I'm going to end up with 1,182 bridges. This data I imported was for both the region and the consultant. So I wanted to be able to capture some inspections that had already been done. So I just went with a bigger field, but typically you'd only do yours. So that's where the 1182 comes from. And then you can see it's going to automatically, our 1182 plan should match our total that's going to be inspected. And then we can, so let's calculate some more numbers. Like you can see a percentage of bridges inspected, bridges QC'd, and along with inventory. So that portion here is all automatically calculated. The level 2 load rating info that you have to put in manually, that isn't automatically captured, as well as this one down here. Then you can see same thing, it calculates some of the metrics as far as bridges inspected within 24 plus 30, 24 plus 120, and bridges sent to QC within 21 and 30 days, as well as bridges sent to QA within 60 days of inspection. All right, the last thing I need to show you here is on the menu bar. You go up to the top right, you should see a note button. And clicking that button opens up a note section in the progress report where you can put any information that might be pertinent to that particular month. If you don't need it, you can click it again and hide it. And then, there's a header area to add some company information should you need it, and obviously update the D number in the region for your particular regions. A couple of last points I'd like to cover is first is on the filters within Vitas. I didn't really show a close-up of how I set the filters to capture the current year. So there's a screenshot here shows those settings and should make it clear for everybody. And the second is when using the macro to import the daily updates. It would be good practice to save the spreadsheet prior to importing. That way, should something go wrong with the macro, you're not going to lose your previous work. And finally, I'd like to thank Tim Olmstead for his efforts on getting this spreadsheet to work as smoothly as it does. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact either Tim or myself, and our contact information is on the screen, and we'll do our best to help you. I hope you find the spreadsheet useful, and thank you for watching.